Hi everyone, welcome to the Gods Enchantments channel. I am Claire and today we are going to be doing an oracle card review. So if you are new here, welcome. If you enjoy this video and would like to see more videos from my channel, then do click the subscribe button. YouTube likes to make it super complicated now. So we had the subscribe button, then we had click the bell. Now we have to actually go to the channel, click the bell and decide if we want to see all videos or just the videos YouTube want from us. So even if you're already subscribed, to make sure you see all my latest videos, you need to pop along to the channel and alter your bell settings. It's constant fun and games here with YouTube. But yes, so I hope everyone is well. It's been super busy times over in my closed Facebook group with lots going on there. The new course has been released. We've just finished our sub box release, which is now completely gone. And I wanted to come over and film a video for the channel. And I have been asked time and time again, Claire, when are you going to review this deck? So today is that day. So the deck we are going to be reviewing is the Moonology deck by Yasmin Boland. Let's see who the art is by. The artwork is by Nix Rowan. So this is what the box looks like. It's a Hay House print. It's a nice sturdy box. Quite a simple one. You have some nice little wording inside, some pattern inside, which is a nice touch to make it a little bit more decorative. Not that it really matters too much in the long run. And with that, you get your beautiful book here, like so. And you get 44 moon cards. Now, the actual moon deck itself is separated into sections. So you get new moon cards, full moon cards, but the way it's done, if I just turn to the front here so that we have all the information. So you have a card for each of the moon phases. You then have the new moon cards with a card for each sign in that new moon. So a new moon in Aries, for example. You then have the full moon cards, which is a full set with the full moon in each sign as well. And then you have an extra section, which is for what she calls special moons. And you've got like the void of course, eclipses, things like that. So you could, to all intensive purposes, separate the deck out, and we will talk about that in a little bit. So first things first, let's talk about the cards themselves. The card stock is really quite good. It's a nice quality. It's not too flimsy. It's not the best card stock, but it's certainly by no means bad card stock. It is going to be super durable, let's say. It's my nice middle of the road card stock that I like to see in a deck that I'm going to be using on a regular basis, so I'm not going to see too much wear and tear from it. So on the back, you have the beautiful moon symbols. Now with this deck, if we go through and we have a look here, so this one, look at that. So you have some really beautiful artwork. It's very, all of the imagery, if we go through a couple, you will see what I mean. It's all got that beautiful dark background. And if it's a sign, then you have the symbology of the sign there. You also have it in writing here, so it will tell you this is a full moon in Taurus. So if you're brand new to studying astrology, if you don't know too much about astrology, and if you don't know the symbols associated with the different signs, I really like that it actually has it on there so you can learn as you go along if you're like just beginning and wouldn't have a clue necessarily what that symbol would mean. So you do have that, and you have almost like a little sentence which gives you a rough guide to the energy of this card. So let's look through a few more. Love it, look at that. I think the imagery is really nice. I love the fact that the background has been kept dark and then the color is actually in the imagery of what we're meant to be looking at. So we're meant to be looking at the sign here. We're meant to be noticing about the moon. The color itself gives us a clue as to the energy that this moon is going to hold. The color also gives us some knowledge about what chakra we perhaps may work with, or what color magic we may like to do when we're working with a moon in that sign. So it does all tie in really beautifully. So this is what the cards are like. They're not like fancy or big custom arts. There's nothing confusing here. They're a really workable deck. Because the idea of this deck that I get from reading what Yasmin has wrote in the book is that these are she wants you to be working with them. These are not a nice pretty deck. They're not overcomplicated. She wants everybody to be able to pick them up and straight away be able to get their messages from them. Is this one the wrong way around? What are you doing there? So we can see the different ones. It's so lovely. I really do like the imagery. I feel it has a very lunar energy to it. It's not fanciful or just over the top. It's very, if you're in a space where you're at your altar on the full moon, on the new moon, you have it lit by candles. The energy of these cards really does go in line with the work that you would be doing. So that's a little look at the cards. Like I say, it's not too much to see. We haven't really got in-depth art to talk about, or, you know, they are what they say on the tin, strictly speaking. Now, in her book, she gives you some information on how the cards are set up, a little bit of information on the different phases of the moon if you're very much beginning. And she says herself that you can use this whole deck as an oracle to get either a card of the day type reading, or you can go more in depth with it, and there's a few spreads in the book which we will have a look at, or you can use your own. And basically what she says about these cards is that, for example, if you're working on a full moon in Scorpio and you start to work with this deck and you pull a new moon in Gemini, the message of that card is still relevant to you regardless of the phase of the moon that you're in. Now, for me, that's just not how I work with my moon magics. So I have done readings on the full moon with these, and I've kind of discounted certain information about the signs when we're not in those signs, or when they literally are not even close to being in play with that moon, but you can certainly use them that way. But I found a few extra ways that I like to use these cards. So I will sometimes separate them out. So I have the new moon and I have the full moon in their signs, and then obviously separate out the other cards as well. And then if I am at the full moon, I will work just with the full moon or just with the new moon and do a little reading that way. The other way I like to use them is if I know I'm going to be in a full moon in Gemini, then I will pull out the full moon in Gemini card and use it as a focus for my moon magic, as well as you can go into the book and you can read the message and meaning that Yasmin has planned for that card based on the astrology. And it's a really good guide if you are new to moon workings. You can get that card out and learn more about the sign and what the moon energy is for that month. So that's another way you could work with them, incorporating them into your ritual practice and as a representation on your altar. I also quite like to pair them with other decks. So if I'm using a tarot deck, for example, on the full moon to get a reading, then I will also pull a few cards from this deck to add in more of that astrological information that might apply to me at the time. It makes a broader picture with your readings as a whole when you can bring in astrology. And especially if you do know your birth chart, your natal chart, you can take it as complicated as you want with this deck, or you can work with it really, really simply as someone who is brand new. And I really like that because it is as simple as out the box, clear your deck, bless your deck, and start working with it as is an oracle deck out of the box. Or as your practice grows, or if you're a more advanced practitioner, there are many other ways that you can use these in your personal practice to enhance your own moon magic, to enhance your other readings, and also just seeing how someone who is very familiar, Yasmin Boland, is very familiar with the moon and astrology. So if you want information, she's a really good go-to. So you get this guide with it, this nice little book here. You've got your contents so that everything is numbered and you know where to go with the book. And then we do have, like I said, a little bit of information, just some very basic information on the different phases of the moon and what that means energetically. A little bit about working with the cards, and then she has given you some spreads in here that you can work with, from the simple to the slightly more complex, depending where you are. There's quite a good few here, and there's nice explanations with them as well, which I really, really like. So if you are new, you know, there's a waning moon 4-card spread, for example, and it gives you questions to ask yourself. So what do I need to release? And that's what one of the cards will help you with. So they're really quite extensive. And then when it comes to the meanings of the cards themselves, it is divided into sections. So our first little bit here at the beginning will tell you kind of the overall of the card. You then have attune to the moon. And this is almost like a sentence. You could use it as a mantra, a way of connecting in. So for example, for the new moon, the attune to the moon is I'll see it when I believe it. Additional meanings for this card section, and then she gives you additional meanings to the main writing that she has done. And then there's also a teaching. So for example, on the new moon, the teaching is the new moon marks the start of the waxing cycle and the midpoint of the dark moon. It's a dark and veiled time when the moon is invisible, and a time of rebirth. It's a time that witches do their work, making wishes and laying down intentions for the new cycle. We know I don't like the word wishes. An intensely magical time when it's easier to pierce the veil to the other worlds. That's just a personal preference, by the way. Those in my community group know that I often talk about the difference between a wish and an intention, and the follow through and the feeding of that. So that's just a little side note of me there. But they are all the same regardless of whether you're in the new moon or wherever you are. Obviously it gives you the teachings of the sign. So when we go into the full moon with the signs, we've got the explanation for the Gemini energy here. So with the full, this is a new moon in Gemini, and it talks you through what that actually means. Then it gives you in the extra teaching part about the Gemini sign as a whole. So like I said, if you're brand new to astrology, if you don't know much about signs, if you're thinking of looking into your natal chart, then this is actually going to help you learn that information. So it's a really nice extensive book. There is at the back, let me find it. Where are you? There it is. There's a little bit there about the artist that did them, as well as Yasmin Boland and all of her social media etc. So all in all, I really like this deck. Obviously, I have reviewed the other moon deck. It's a completely different deck to this, a completely different energy, a completely different type of work that you're going to be doing. They are not comparable. So if you already do own the moon deck that I have reviewed, this is not even on the same line. They're not going to cross over. You're not going to be buying another moon deck that is the same thing. This is a very different type of moon deck, focusing on astrology as the main goal here, understanding the different phases of the moon, understanding what it means when the moon is in the different astrological signs and how that differs each month. If you are over in my community group, then every month they get a new moon video and they get a full moon video where I talk them through the signs, I talk them through the crystals, I talk them through the different work and how that signs work. So these are a really good kind of partner to your working if that's the sort of thing that you would like to learn. So all in all, I really like the deck. Like I said, the card stock is good. There's numerous ways that you can use this deck, whether you are more advanced, whether you are beginning. It doesn't cross over with any really of the other moon decks that I have. I think I've only reviewed one other on the channel, but I have a couple. This is pretty much standalone. I have one other deck that is similar astrology wise based, and it's really basic and I'm not a huge fan of it. If I was going to recommend an astrology based deck to you where you're going to be able to really learn from it, this would be the one that I would recommend for you to get. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Do come over and join my closed Facebook community group. The link is just down in the drop down under this video, along with the link to my website as well. This is an oldie, but a really good deck if you are looking for a moon-based deck that's going to teach you a lot. This is a learning deck, is how I would say. It's not all about pretty pictures and you know, more fluffier messages. This is learning and a working deck that's going to evolve with you, and the more you learn, the more you'll be able to branch out with your moon magic and with astrology as a whole. So that is it from me. Have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever it is that you are doing. Don't forget to click that like button and subscribe, and I will speak to you all very soon. Blessed be.